proposed playing with the timeline a little bit, which I think is a great idea. And I was trying to figure out Max Cady, I'm picturing visiting a home that is completely abandoned and empty. Signifying that this was his hometown at one point, too. Doesn't have to be the case. Or that this was... I'm thinking his mom's house. That's his mom's house. I remember having a scene in one of the earlier ideas, or maybe even drafts, of Max Cady sobbing in an empty home, and that being intercut with, I still want that. I'm circling back to that, where the intercut that we have going now, or will, with your side of things and my side of things, will continue on into that same evening, where I'm thinking Danny rushes over to Sam's house. Danny opening the door is what we think to be Max Cady.
Oh.
At the same time, Max Cady is experiencing his loss juxtaposed with Sam's somebody there for him.
Yep.
So that will lead into what I'm thinking to be the dinner, Bowden family dinner, Max's outrage, hate-fueled night spent there or something. Maybe he burns it down.
Yeah.
And that goes, Max Cady's here.
Yeah. Oh, my word.
To law enforcement, to Sam, word gets around, something happened, here's a rumor.
Oh, my word. Okay.
It gives us room for the Jaws effect where he's in town, but...
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got 4 pages, about 3.5 of structured, formatted content. And the last bit is what I know I want to happen.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's the right thing to happen. And I don't know if I was just getting too in my head about it, but I would try to start the scene and it was not coming naturally, and not to say that the ones prior to it are flawless, because a lot of it, particularly dialogue, I will say dialogue is very subject to change. What is in place right now is the idea that I want communicated between these characters.
Yeah.
So, last scene left off with Olivia on the phone with Danny. So Danny's out with kids. Staff member from the nursing home calls, filling her in on situation with Sam. Danny rounds up the group, and they are off to go get Sam. So I'll go ahead and just read straight through here. Interior Danny's car, moving, day. Danny shuttles her 3 children, brothers Jamie, 11, and Bucky, 6, sat in the back while Nancy rides shotgun. Names subject to change for the sake of right now. I used the ones in the novel. So starting with Jamie here. Is Grandpa okay? You know, Grandpa, there's always something. Is he sick? He's not sick. He just gets confused sometimes. So worse than sick, basically. Exterior nursing home, same time. Sam and Olivia sit at a bench waiting, watching as Danny's car pulls into the lot and approaches. Olivia side-eyes Sam for a reaction. He shows nothing. Interior Danny's car moving, same time. Bucky excitedly waves out the window as they near Sam's bench. Okay, Nancy, I'm going to have you move to the back. I know the drill. Car slows to a halt. Still no visual cues from Sam. And actually, if you guys could just wait in the car while I check in with Bucky's already pulled off his headphones and opened his door. Hey, Bucky, Jamie swings and just misses Bucky's arm. Papa, that's the name that I have right now. I want something that's not just Grandpa. I want something for Sam. Exterior nursing home continuous. Bucky latches himself onto Sam, who at first seems completely unsure of how to respond. Danny exits the car, starts with the curb, followed by Jamie and Nancy. Buck, what did I just tell you? Sam breaks into a wide grin and returns Bucky's hug. Well, who's this bushy-haired fella? Are we taking in wild animals now, huh? Bucky laughs. Danny breathes, trades a half smile with Olivia while the kids say their hellos. Hey, Dad. Hey, kiddo. Interior nursing home reception day. Danny stands at the desk while Olivia scribbles on a sticky note. I'd say give her a call tomorrow sometime and just say Olivia sent you. She's the best there is if you can afford her. Danny taking the sticky note. Yeah, well, money's the smaller obstacle here, believe me. Interior Danny's car parked, same time. Jamie demonstrates a point-and-shoot iPhone game for Sam. You're a crack shot in the making, huh? Only on his phone. Nancy's not a big fan of guns. They freak her out. Shut up. Ask Dad about the time he tried to explain his sidearm to us. Shut up, Jamie. She cried for like an hour. It was like 2 minutes. Mom was so mad. You know, your mom was around Nancy's age when she shot a gun for the first time. Yeah, right. Mom with a gun. More to himself than them. It was a long time ago now. Your Nana and I still argue about it. Uncomfortable beat. Kids aren't sure how to respond. She misses you guys. Once she's better, we'll have to make some regular trips out here, whole family. She'd like that. Interior nursing home reception, same time. I swear he's more stubborn than Mom these days. I can only make the same argument to him so many times. I don't know. A man like him, the shit he's been through, he won't tell you he needs help, even at his worst. That part just doesn't leave as easy as the rest. You've got to take charge. You say the hard things to him. Danny considers. Exterior Bowden house day. Car pulls into the yard. Marilyn greets kids. This is kind of where I just devolve into explanation. And also some stream of conscious, just pitching. Car pulls into the yard. Marilyn greets kids. They play with the dog for a bit. Sam goes about some chores in the barn or clean up in the house or tries to make lunch for them or something. Danny, taking Olivia's words into consideration. She wants to act now. She wants to try to act on this just now and get on top of it. Tries to talk to him about getting a nurse and getting someone to help. Sam, I want it to start as a very civil conversation with a sudden kind of violent, angry outburst from him, kind of out of nowhere, and tells Danny to get out, just let him be. Danny exits the house, realizes the kids all heard the two of them shouting, tells them just get in the car, they're going home. Interior Bowden house night. This is where I was kind of, what is the idea of Sam talking to Carol specifically? Was something that we had talked about before, the two of us, and reflecting on the ways that he has failed as a husband, father. So up until this point, I feel like the emphasis has been Sam as just a likable but perplexing outside force. So I want, in the moments of solitude, I want the revelations of just like, this is who he is still, what he still has about him. This is what it is. This is the way that he's thinking. This is his train of thought. And then here's where I just didn't exactly know where to go next. Maybe late that night, here's Marilyn barking up a shitstorm outside, ignores it. Maybe goes out in the morning to find her dead or poisoned. Later that afternoon, Kitty is the day that Kitty shows up at his doorstep, maybe. But totally flexible on where we go. So yeah, any instinctive anything right off the bat you're like, yes, no, maybe so?
I haven't written my idea yet, so there's still room to conjoin with yours.
I was trying to get, he says some stuff that under normal conditions would not say.
Yeah.
And that's not just the, I mean, the stuff about Carol is pretty upfront and centered there, but like under normal conditions, would he say, it was probably around your age actually, that your mom fired a gun for the first time? Because if you think about the context of that, what the context of that implies is, why in the would he bring it up?
Yep.
And like so casually, so cavalier about it, something that I try to indicate from I think Jamie in the text right away. He's like, mom with a gun, that's not a thing.
I could feel Danny too right there.
Yeah.
Because have you ever been in those situations where, let's just say the word gun, somebody in that conversation or in that bundle of people is hypersensitive to the word gun. So then when it's just said in casual conversation,
yep,
that's like what I feel Danny going through.
Yeah.
And
For
not and the casual openness of something we never talk about.
No.
That's what I felt her going through too in that moment.
Yeah. And then tried to get just a piece of dad's in law enforcement, just the tiniest little mention of just something about a sidearm, that their dad is somebody that has a gun, and the kids are aware that he has a gun, and it's probably something that they've talked about. And,
maybe it's just we scrap the door knock. Maybe that's just gone. Maybe that's on the nose enough to scrap and keep it something with a house burning down and Sam just knows. Because I want to go back to Sam has a feeling.
there is nothing less subtle that I can think of than burning a place down. So we're looking at two really polar ends of a spectrum. Most subtle and yet upfront, but subtle and just quiet, unassuming, versus so assuming.
I have two thoughts. And that is for the fire. For that to be his first act. And something of his own. To me, that goes, this is so much bigger than just a dog. No. That dog was his tactic at 20-something years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
He is so far beyond I mean, if he's starting a fire, where is he going to go? And I feel like a public shooting is 2 steps above that. So the middle, there's a middle one, a second act one that we need to find too.
I wonder, I mean, if the second act isn't something with the boat. If we find a spot, because I would like to, and obviously we've had the conversation of like how much stuff do we leave in the past, how much of the source material takes place in the past, how much do we save for the present day. I would love to still find a way to get, because that is a staple of both films.
Yeah.
Again, oddly enough, it is depicted as the finale in both films and totally is not in the book. But I wonder if that could maybe be the second act.
Max would be burning something of his own down. That was my idea for the house.
Something of
would
his
not
own
to be
down. That was my...
This relates to his death wish and self-harm. And I think he's putting on a display for Sam to see, this is what you've caused.
Oh, fuck.
No.
That's way better. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
No, my understanding in my brain was that there would be a scene of him at this place from his past and crying there. But then I interpreted it as then cutting from that to something of Sam's burning. But I like that a lot more, because actually then what that does is it's, if step one is something detached from the Bodens but connected all at once.
Because the word goes around and they go, you hear the Katie residence burnt down last night?
Oh, that is, yes. There is no, because actually that is a quicker, oh my God, okay. That is more confirmation that it's Max Cady than Sam's property burning down.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is like, oh man, I wonder who did that. And Sam's like, I know exactly who did that.
I know exactly who did that.
Then, well, that, okay, so there you go. You've got, so.
He's red as crazy. Because of this overwhelming feeling that he has.